All right. Well, welcome, guys. Welcome to SE Live Sessions for NAMM. My name's Kyle Gerhart. I'm going to be hosting and asking you guys all the questions for this endeavor. And why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
My name's Caleb Fisher, and I am an engineer in Nashville, Tennessee.
My name is Gabe Lee.
I ain't your aeroplane.
And my name is Zoe Cummins. She grew up in Mississippi, jumps from way.
Well, welcome. So tell me a little bit about each of you. Obviously, your role in all of this and what type of music you guys do.
I work out of Farmland Studios, have cut the last two records, Honky Tonk Hell and my debut record, Farmland, namesake, of course, for the studio, over the last couple of years here. Been a great experience. I'm a songwriter here in Nashville, so basically, we should have been on the road this year, but at this point, we're just kind of cutting songs.
Yeah, I guess most of the same can be said about me, except for I just started working here at Farmland with everybody. We just cut 3 of my songs here. Very excited about it. Same thing, I'd typically be touring right now, but I play country music, and yeah.
So this is my studio, Farmland. It is kind of a home that got converted into a studio about 10 years ago. It's great. It's got a vibe. It's very low key. You can kind of come in and take your jacket off and not feel any pressure to be super talented or whatever. You can kind of just work things out and do it the old school way.
It's homey.
It's homey. That's a good word.
Yeah.
Which is great because it's a home. So there are 3 of us kind of here that co-run the studio. I'm kind of the house engineer, guy named David Dorn who produced both of their records. He's a partner here, and then there's one other guy named John Behrens who is a great mixer and audio guy, just like me. And yeah, it's great. I've been working with Gabe for the last couple of years on things here and there, and then I engineered the better part of his Honky Tonk Hell record, and then Zoe I just met pretty recently when she started working over here, and yeah, her stuff it's just killer. It's some of the best music I've recorded this year for sure.
Well, that's awesome, and we're here, and obviously the videos that we're about to watch feature a lot of different SE mics, and that's thank you guys for your support on that. And with that, how do you go about as the engineer and the artist and the dynamic back and forth when you're working on getting sounds? How do you guys choose what you're going to end up using?
So a lot of for me is very emotional. I know it's weird, but the way mics look influence sometimes what I think will fit the vibe. I know that's not technically true, but Gabe specifically, his music for me is very timeless and not dark in an emotional way, but sort of, but dark in a old school country, just
Storytelling.
Storytelling, just sitting on your front porch strumming your guitar, and for me, picking microphones especially, knowing what a mic can give and what it can't influences the ending sound, obviously. So when we pick mics, especially for the videos, you'll see the R&R one on Gabe's guitar and his vocal. There's just no beating it. And I've worked with plenty of microphones in my career, and that it's probably one of the best mics I've ever touched.
Well, that's awesome. That's definitely something that we're going to showcase right now. We're going to watch Gabe's video that you guys did. It's called Aeroplane.
Hi, my name is Gabe Lee. Welcome to my SE session. I ain't your aeroplane. I ain't your aeroplane. I don't intend to carry more than these wings were built to take. I ain't your aeroplane. Don't take a chance on me. Don't take a chance on me. Ain't got time to give a dang about nobody else's dream. Don't take a chance on me. 'Cause I will run. It's about the only thing that I can do. I will go till far enough is far away from you. Don't come knocking at my door. Don't you come knocking at my door. I've just boarded up the windows with strips of hardwood floor. Don't you come knocking at my door. 'Cause I will run. It's about the only thing that I can do. I will go till far enough is far away from you. I ain't no aeroplane. I'm just a hook without a chain. I'm a rusted set of tires beneath a long metal frame, but I ain't no aeroplane. I ain't your aeroplane.
All right. Wow, that was, a fantastic video, Gabe. Tell me a little bit about that song.
The song Aeroplane is, as you all heard, it's sad. It's kind of my get away from me song, it's this idea that, like, why would you take a chance on someone who so obviously doesn't want to be taken a chance on, And I've been lucky in a lot of ways because, I have a great, community and support system here in Nashville, and I'm from here. I'm born and raised here, so, like, never have I really felt hopeless like that, but I think because of that, I wanted to experience through the song the feelings of like that void, that desperation of don't come knocking at my door, leave me alone, like, I'm not any good. And that's just one it's a songwriting like form just to sort of like put yourself in the shoes of a different character and not necessarily be writing from your own experience, but be writing from an imagined experience and narrative. And yeah, I know it's a sad song, but those are my favorite ones to write. So I hope you
Well, it sounds fantastic. So, and speaking of the sounds, how do you, as the artist, obviously you have a very interesting character to your voice and the way that you play guitar. How do you work with Caleb when it comes to getting those sounds and making sure that your message and your song is getting, picked up properly and put out properly with the balance between, being a, singer-songwriter with, two instruments being used at once?
Yeah, sure. Well, I have very little, audio knowledge or video knowledge, really. So when I step into Farmland, like, the best part about the vibe here and the fact that it's a home studio, and the folks that that work here, is that I can trust them, and I trust them to to set up the room around me to sound good and feel good, so that I can just go in and do a take like you guys just saw. And when we cut our last two records here, basically I'm cutting usually with a guitar mic and a vocal mic, and the band's in the band room, and we're all playing live together, and we'll just get a solid take and then go back and overdub where we need to. But my parts on these records are, the records feel live because, I mean, they pretty much are. I'm playing and singing at the same time with them, which makes it a little harder, I think, like generally speaking, for most artists who like to go back and like redo vocal parts completely on their own. Whereas, you know, I have the bleed, right, from the guitar to the mic. The guitar mic and the vocal mic are basically bleeding into each other, and so that attributes a lot to the awesome liveness and that feel. But then again, you know, there's some drawbacks, you know, in the editing process. But we make it work because, you know, they're talented and awesome. And also, like, you know, just from a video standpoint, like having folks who can make you look good on camera is extremely valuable, because we can't all be as pretty as Zoe. So
that's a perfect segue right into Zoe. So Zoe, tell us a little bit about you, and then we'll get into watching ghost stories and then talk, you know, the same things.
Yeah, I've been in Nashville for, I don't know, 6 years, I think. And I grew up in a really small town in Oklahoma, and there really wasn't anything to do, so I just kind of stumbled on a guitar. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Gabe said, kind of just making up your own stories, whatever it is, to kind of connect you to those things that you may or may not have or experience. And just an outlet. I never really was good at video games, so the best thing for me to do was to insert myself in a story of my own. And so I do a lot of that. I'm not quite as much of a utility player as Gabe over here, so yeah, a lot of, I think what we do is, at least in my music, is kind of layering things that I don't do. And vocals and things like that. I mean, pretty much my thing is layering vocals. So when you're talking about mics, that's definitely what I'm looking at, the bread and butter here for me. So yeah.
Well, awesome. We're gonna watch your song Ghost Stories.
Hey, I'm Zoe Cummins, and this is my SE Sessions. She grew up in Mississippi, jumps from Wayland back to Whitley. Here and gone real quick just for the pick. Bought a ticket just to say she came. Always sticks to Jack and Coke. She praises Willie, she don't smoke. Won't sing big screen. He was James Dean, but he never even got a name. Ooh, he bet his love just like roulette. Ooh, she blew a kiss before she left. Hit him like a bullet from a 45 revolver. Held him like she meant it, but nobody ever saw her. Could have been a dream, but he said it's real to me. He's telling everybody ghost stories. Ooh, ooh, ooh. She moved her hips to Emmylou, but even cowgirls get the blues. One drink and she dashed, closed out with cash, took his last sip in the dust. Never had faith in the good Lord, said he knew she'd never find it in us. Should have called it from 10 miles away, but he let her do it just because. Hit him like a bullet from a 45 revolver. Held him like she meant it, but nobody ever saw her. Could have been a dream, but he said it's real to me. He's telling everybody ghost stories. Ooh, he bet his love just like roulette. Ooh, she blew a kiss before she left. Hit him like a bullet from a 45 revolver. Held him like she meant it, but nobody
right, guys. Well, that was fantastic. Not only did it look amazing, but it sounded amazing as well. It was all together. So I see what you're saying about having some good video people helping you out there, and that obviously you guys went with the Gemini on your vocal on that. Caleb, can you speak to why you chose that for her voice?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, in some ways it was easier to choose that for her than the which ribbon to choose for Gabe. Zoe for me has a very like brash kind of mid-range, which is the character of her voice, which is awesome. But somewhat in the mixing stage of things, that can quickly be overpowering. And for me, the Gemini has a sweetness in the mid-range. I won't call it a scoop, but like just a little bit of a softness. And it to me, the first time I heard her sing on it, I just knew that was her mic. Like it just, the way it shines on the top end and the bottom end, and just for Zoe particularly, like sweetens her mid-range. It lets me actually be able to be more flexible with how I can push her vocal, because it's starting the process already 10 steps ahead of any other mic.
That's great. And the same thing. So, and talk to me about what you used on her guitar and why.
The VR1, to me, that mic, it's one of the best ribbon mics I've heard for acoustics. Since I bought it, I've used it on every acoustic that I've tracked for months. It to me does not, weirdly enough, it doesn't sound like a ribbon mic. It sounds like a really sweet condenser mic. I know that doesn't make a bunch of sense, but it has a character to it that it's not dark like usual ribbon mics, especially passive ribbon mics are. It's just really smooth, and so I just know that the smoothness of the VR1 puts her guitar right in the spot that it needs to be without having to work for it, and getting you there faster. And that's kind of the goal. And that particular mic on a bright acoustic guitar is like nothing else that I've heard. And to be honest, like matching, like using that and something like the Gemini, sometimes I use both side by side on acoustic guitars, and like it's world class, man.
That's awesome. And how, Zoe, how do you feel when you're working with an engineer? What's the dynamic of just making sure that you get your message across? Are you someone who is technically savvy when it comes to choosing microphones? I said you had said that you do a lot of vocal layering and whatnot. Is that a process that you've been involved in, or is it a process that you kind of just lean on the engineer?
I mean, obviously, I think the smartest thing I can do is to lean on the engineer. I do have a slight background in it, but not enough to necessarily carry me. But I am very in tune with the strengths and weaknesses of my voice, and I think Caleb pretty much said it right there. I think a lot of times my voice is very loud, very powerful, and I think there are a lot of qualities that you lose, using specific mics. Especially, I've had people come to me with some of the best vocal mics I've ever seen as far as highest price and how many people use them, but usually those don't actually do the best work for me, just because, like I said, I come across with a lot of power and stuff like that in my vocals. So to have somebody like Caleb who really takes into consideration what you do really well, and he said the strengths and weaknesses of the mic, what do you lose, what do you gain right up front with just that, has been awesome and really helpful, because as I play an instrument, but it's not my main thing. I consider my vocals my main instrument. So yeah, it's huge to be able to have somebody that understands that and allows you to experiment with different mics as well. On the record, we use several different kinds. So just to be able to play with those and find what works for what I'm doing, it's just been awesome.
Well, that's great. So thank you so much, guys, for taking the time to be here for this interview and be able to work with us doing it virtually and whatnot. And we're excited to see more music come out of you guys. And thank you so much for all of the stuff that you do with SE.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.